As I said, I don't think Curtis can edit this from Sweden. So rather than go stable by stable by stable by stable, I'm going to talk about all the horses, A to Z, well, A to Y, the race horses. I think we have under 100 horses now. Anyway, if I missed a horse or made a mistake, obviously I apologize, but I'm almost positive Curtis can't edit this in Sweden, so I had to think of a better way to do it. I did the opening, flawless. I'm going to go through all the race horses, and then I'm going to through all the babies. We'll start, obviously, with Arvika. Sent Arvika to Yonkers, get her in to go. George Brennan's driving her. She's morning line favorite, I think. Opened as the favorite, closed as the second favorite, I believe, also. And made a break in the first turn. Now George Brennan come off and told Scott that she was hitting her knees. She wears knee boots. Can't really say I've ever seen her hitting her knees, but she did make a break in London, if you remember way back when we tried to race her there. Geez, I thought she was pretty flawless at Flamborough, but there's quite a difference between Flamborough and Yonkers, so I suppose it's obviously possible. So I believe Scott said he's going to regroup and race her, change her shoes a little bit, and race her at the Poconos next week. So obviously, keeping up with the trend of a shitty 2019, Arvika opens up her U.S. debut with a break. Hopefully she rebounds next week. Buckingham raced well last night, I know, and this was a point of contention. I said at the start, talked to Harry and Kevin about entering the horses. We had Buckingham in the non-winners of 2. She should never go away 77-1. That's our fault. That's on us. We should be able to find classes to race these horses where they're bet down and 77-1. That's not Buckingham's problem. That's our problem. She'll race in where she is favorite next week, I would assume. At Georgian Downs, condition claimer will be the best spot for her. It's not that she's bad, but we got to get back winning some races. So Buckingham paced her last quarter in 27-1, last half in 54-4, but finished 8th in doing it. There's no fun in that, so we will have her in where she belongs. I know I said this last week. Kevin and I talked about it. Kevin asked for one more start. Kevin wants to see you guys do as good as you can too. Wants to see the horses do as well as they can. Believe that Buckingham could do in the non-winners of 2. She can't. It's too much power for her right now. So we can find a spot where there's a lot less. You'll note Lincoln James. We'll talk about him in a minute. 2 for 2 out in Chicago. Looked like a beast last night. That's what happens when you race horses below where they belong. And we should have the availability to do that. We do in the condition claimers with Buckingham. I suspect she'll be much the best in there. She should. And that's where she'll turn up next week. Casanova's Jewel, I told everybody we're turning him out. Then he blew a pus pocket out of his left front foot. We're going to work on him. I'm not going to warm him up. I'm going to watch him warm up on Monday. If he warms up well, we're going to put him into school on Monday morning. Did make some shoeing changes with this guy. Eager to see if they helped or not. Cruising with Angus. Cruising in Style. Cruising in Style qualified great the other day. 54-3, 54-4. Come on, phone. 54-3, 54-4, and looked great doing it. Come back to his old self. Took 3 schoolers and 2 full qualifiers to get this colt rolling again. I would attribute it just a shitty winter that we had and a tough time to put it was very tough to put fast quarters, fast halves into these horses, and took some track work. But Cruising in Style looks like he's found his best stride in 2019 already. Cruising with Angus, back going. He starts training this week. If I had said he trained last week, I was misinformed. He did not. Kevin said, yeah, we'll start training that guy first of the month. So next week, Cruising with Angus will start back. Lots of jog miles into this guy. We're lucky to have him back where he is. Ready to rock there, Buckaroo? Ollie. Yeah, everybody's coming. We're going to ball hockey with Ollie here in a little while. You'll note that in the previous video, Ollie had a big, moppy, shaggy head of hair. We rectified that shortly after. I got a look at the phone. I said, oh my God, you look terrible. Ollie, say hi to everybody. Hi. So we took Ollie over and got his hair cut. Dance Hall Babe qualified poorly. Looked poorly. This filly is on thin ice. This is so depressing. But we've seen this time and time again, not just here, a lot of places. Dance Hall Babes really got to put it together, and what she hasn't shown that yet. So we're gonna school her on Monday, I would say, also to make sure we got her right. Delcrest Star Angel went to London last night, made a break in the first turn. I didn't see her make a break at Flamborough. I didn't see her make a break at, not on me anyway, at Mohawk. Might be one of these things. I'll turn that down, buddy. Might be one of these things where maybe she just doesn't get around London well. She's the biggest horse we have in the burn. Not that shocking. I had said last night to somebody that, we'll race her in the grassroots, and somebody called me on it. And you're right. They said, well, why are we racing in the grassroots if she's making breaks in London? Well, the open, the maiden at Mohawk's an open event. What I mean by that is it's open to American breds, colts, and fillies. It's not segregated. If we went to the grassroots, I believe you might get an easier shake. Yeah, there might be a couple of tough ones in there, but it could be a good race for Delcrest Star Angel. So in that regard, yes, you're right. I don't believe she's done enough to warrant a stake debut. But having said that, the race is at Mohawk. It is segregated to fillies, 3-year-old fillies. Might be a good time for her to get some experience. So Delcrest Star Angel will be heading to the grassroots next week. Dewey Ann, we'll mention Dewey Ann in this group because we haven't made a mare section yet. Dewey Ann was bred and will be checked. They haven't gotten full yet, but they've been bred. They're going to be checked on Tuesday, both her and Stolen Dance. I'll talk about her in a minute. I don't really know what more to say, how to expand on that. I hope they're in full, but we'll know on Tuesday. Final Answer had a couple little hiccups. As I'd said, that right hind was still bothering him when he was jogging. I wanted to get him up to the pool, but I want to get him x-rayed also to make sure there's not a line in that splint bone, which is a very minor injury. But it needs addressed and fixed. So I want to get that looked at this week. He has been jogging, training slow miles. He hasn't lost any movement, but at the same time, we need to get to the bottom of this issue that shouldn't be an issue. Ivanka's racing tonight, maybe? I'm not sure when she's racing. I know that I talked to Angie last night after Lincoln James had been victorious. She told me that Ivanka is in to go. I'm not sure when. Might be Monday or Tuesday, actually, in a stake race. Just a tad. I was having a... Guys, stop.
She's taking my chocolate.
Put that back. And you put that in the wrapper. You were supposed to put that in the wrapper.
I tried.
Sneaky. No, you didn't try. You meant to put it in the wrapper, and instead you put it in your mouth by accident. Is that what you tried? Put it in your wrapper. My goodness. Just a tad. Schooled well yesterday. He'll be racing next week. I was so happy to see him get around. Jody got him around and said he was fine. So he'll be racing this week. Hi, Ava Lily. Sit down, sweetheart.
He gets chocolate.
He got his hair cut, and there was a chocolate thing there. I don't know what it was. Lincoln James was victorious last night. 151-4 in Illinois. So happy. As I said, there was a reason we wanted to send this colt. There was a reason we wanted to send... Guys, Ava Lily, I'm not going to put up with that. There was a reason we were sending Lincoln James to Illinois, and that was it. I wanted to get some easy racing into this horse and let his confidence grow. He looked like a machine last night. Great job to Angie and Rob. Maintenance Man finished third. He started to make some forward progression. As I said in my message to everybody, I had told everybody this horse needs to be in the hunt. Anytime he raced good last year, he was on the front or in the 2-hole. To get away ninth is just a certain... Ava is almost a certain ninth place finish. And last night, Jonathan left with the horse, got away third. He could have been a mediocre fourth, fought back to finish third down the lane, raced much better. Obviously, forward progression there. Master Savers racing tonight. It's supposed to pour all night. I have no idea how he's going to do. The class is a little easier. Instead of the 15 claimer onwards of 50, it's an onwards of 30 back where he belongs. I assume he'll do well. Not an Angel. That swelling in her hind leg is coming down. There was no broken bones and no visible tears of any suspensory. But I guess what you call a sprain. Can we call it that? A sprain. She's been in the pool the last week. She is going to head to Illinois when we send Olympic Hopeful in a couple of weeks. Obviously, Not an Angel is a little bit injured right now. The extent of that will be up to her. When that swelling comes out, we can start training her again. The day she heard it, she went a mile 2-1 last quarter and 28 in a piece, so she was already ready to go. Oh So Pine. My God, I caught a lot of flack over Oh So Pine. Not all of our horses come back great. And although Oso Pine had some issues, his last start, his liver count jumped, and then we had a lot of people saying that do this with the liver and do that. I've been doing this a long time too. His liver count was down where it needed to be last night. 18, 19, 20, 22, I believe is where it was, which is an acceptable level to race the horse at. The problem wasn't his liver. The problem was he was off 19 days racing against aged competition, and they went in 54-4. A mile and 56-1 for a 3-year-old trotter off 19 days, I don't think is the end of the world, but you would think on the message board that it was. And, I had to remind people also, this is a colt we bought for what, 14, 15,000? They made 98,000 American last year. If you want to blame Jason, you want to blame me, that's fine. But at the end of the day, the horse is trying to find his way back onto the proper path. And I understand that people are upset, but much like the owners of Maintenance Man, that happens. Much like the owners of Springbridge Proud, that happens. And horses in every single stable in North America, that happens. We are trying to get the horse back on track. He's making waves. I don't think last night was a disgrace. He got beat by more experienced, faster horses than he is right now. He was off time in between the start before last and the start before that. We need to get him on a consistent training and racing schedule and keep an eye on his blood. But last night was not the Titanic of a race that people let it out to believe. I'm sorry. I'll be the first to admit when the horses race poorly, race bad, need to do better. Oso Pine didn't race horrible last night. He raced like a horse should race when he's off 19 days and they go in 54-4. So, for those of you out there looking for the lifeboats in Oso Pine, I'm happy to help you. There are a lot of clients that are still looking to buy shares in Oso Pine, but that will be up to you. So, that's Oso Pine. Road Tripper is off. We gave him some time off, that horse. He's a big colt. He's 4. He's a big horse. He's not near growing yet, and I own almost all of them. So, I did what I knew the horse needed, and that was to have a little more time off. We'll be bringing him back in another couple of weeks. Same as Screaming Hawk needed some time off. We had some clients that wanted out of him, and had other clients and myself reach in and buy those shares. This is another horse that needs a little time off. If he needed to leave, he'd be gone by now. And Screaming Hawk, I'll always stick up for horses that try, and he's trying. Another horse that has been struggling, See You in Tuscany. Last week he made a break out of the 9 hole and then got parked the whole way. I would have rather seen the horse raced a little more conservatively, but Chris Page is a professional driver and a great driver, and he decided to leave them, much like I've done a million times with other horses, and it didn't work out. So he's back in to go Monday. I would hope, I've talked to Jason, I would hope they race this horse with a little conservative thought in their head, as he's had a rough start to 2019. Stolen Dance, as we talked about, has been bred. Her and Duyen will be checked on Tuesday to see if they're in foal, and then we'll know more then. Ava. Stonebridge Simba raced good last week, finished 4th and 56 in the mud. Does that mean he races in the Stallion Series of the Sire Stakes? I'm not really sure yet, but that's not my job. That's John Butenshane's job, and he is going to be the one to make the decision. Either way he decides, I'll stand behind. I would like to see the horse get some easy wins, so silently to myself and our clients, I kind of want to see the Stallion Series, but I left it up to John. Sunshine Inn, 3rd the other night. So she would be in foal. She'd have a baby in her, but just brand new baby, and it would take 11 months before it comes out. So the two mares we got in foal are Dewey Ann and Stolen Dance. We checked them with a little ultrasound to see if they have babies in them on Tuesday, to see if they're in foal. So
I want to see that.
You won't see the babies until next April, end of April, early May. Anyway, Sunshine Inn raced well, coming off an abysmal mile, and second start now on Lasix. Don't know if she made the City of London final. We'll know on Monday. I think she will, because it's the same night as the Grassroots. So some of those fillies will, the Tory filly, I'm sure, will go over to the Grassroots. We're going to race in the City of London if we can. Sunshine's Finest, I get a lot of people asking, has he had the CT yet? No. They have to wait for that wound to heal up, and I'm getting the distinct feeling from the veterinarian that they're not going to operate, they're not going to screw that back in, that the chip is going into place well. I think the deciding factor, the way it was told to me by the surgeon, was there is a tiny piece of that missing in some cartilage that was injured, so the idea that there would be no arthritis would be not possible. So lots of horses have injuries like this and come back just fine. She said the prognosis to race is very, very high and very, very good, regardless of screw or not. So obviously that's not my call or yours. That will be the surgeon's. After talking to Natalie the other day, she said, I can't do the CT till the wound is healed. But the more time without the wound healed, the more that chip glues, I guess, back in place on its own. So the more time, the less likely it is that she'll want to put a screw through that, if she can. I guess it would save us almost $4,000, but at the same time would not diminish his route back to the track. As far as when he can start back, given the time frame, if we don't put that screw in, when do we start jogging him again? I don't know that. Again, I'd have to talk to Natalie Cote, who's the lead surgeon on the file. I know, I was just thinking of that. Just give me a second, sweetie. She will be the one to decide. Here, I'll turn it on. She'll be the one to decide about the trajectory of Sunshine's Finest, when he will make his start back jogging. I don't even want to guess. I almost said something, but I don't want to guess. I'll tell you this: he's walking sound, so that's a bonus. Timo Houdini is not walking sound. He injured himself in a race last week. Was from Louis Philippois' mouth to my ears to yours. He said he was going to be third and made a break, come up lame after the race. He has a fractured coffin bone right hind and is done for his 2019 season. Much like mine, but different than mine, he needs more downtime. What are you doing? He needs more downtime and will get it, as the prognosis for his injury is very, very good also. Warwi Ultra, couldn't get her back in the maiden in a proper time frame, so we're going to school her on Monday. It was going to be 5 days back for the grassroots. That's not acceptable, so we're going to give her a schooler on Monday, hopefully around 56, 57, maybe 58, and then she'll be going into the grassroots the following Monday, Tuesday, I think. I'm not positive on that, but right after that was her grassroots. I think it is Tuesday now that I say it out loud. West 52nd. What about the non-winners of 2 going in 154 and 3 in Scioto Downs? How tough is it there right now? This is exactly why we're going to race this horse. This is exactly why we're going to race this horse in the Gin Blossom series. We can't continue to go to the well. Look at a horse like Lincoln James.
Yeah.
Don't be silly. A horse like Lincoln James, you have a horse with any sort of class, you let them get a couple of easy wins under their belt, and they look like $1 million. That's what we're looking for here with West 52nd. Aaron Merriman is going to drive West 52nd on Wednesday. White Tiger finally announced some good news. White Tiger was a winner last night in New Jersey, and he looked some kind of good. Very, very happy.
I have a white tiger.
Do you? I do too. White Tiger looked very, very good last night. Very happy. I'm not going to dwell on the wins because we have a lot that didn't. So I'm just going to say I was happy with the win last night in New Jersey. Last and never least is Yes. I think Ryan Stahl is going to drive him in Ohio on Wednesday, in Northfield on Wednesday. He's got the rail and a 7-horse field, which happens to be the Gin Blossom. Ryan's a decent driver. I think he does pretty good. And I would have obviously liked to have been there to drive myself, but nevertheless, I'm sure Ryan will get along with him. Just got to get him away from the gate. I would assume he's not in tough, so get him away from the gate and get him raced. I got a little filly here throwing herself. Luckily, we're all done the racehorses. I'll run through quick the injured horses. Antero started back jogging yesterday under tranquilizer. Gonna move him a little bit and then ultrasound that leg in another couple of weeks. Just gonna take it easy, but it looks good so far. Forged in Fire is off for another couple of months. He's out for 2019. Sunshine's Finest, we talked about him. And Timo Houdini, we talked about him also. I was gonna talk about the Australians. I'll do that in the yearlings. Gwenny and the Needy Filly. A couple little updates for them. Yeah, just throw those out, honey. And I will be back to you guys in just a minute with all of the babies. Talk to you soon.